appetite for 2 a days. Woke up with no plans, what I'ma do today. These are not the same, I got new shoes today. My baby missed me, wishing it was 2 of me. And I'm like, if I'm not doing what's the real deal? I've been up and down Pharaoh. Free my bro, you did a real kill. Off the liquor and some pill pills. I've been at it since a church. Work. Tell little baby, make it twerk. Twerk. Go crazy, go crazy. Bro, pass me the rock. I've been moving out the box. Top speed going top. 101 going pop. Getting hot. In the paint, never flop. At the rim like who? Get the crown like Braun. Yeah. Make it some and I'm spending some. What's the plan? Bet I get it done. It's me, yeah, nigga.
Notoriety Sports Network. Built different.
What's good, guys and gals?
Hey.
Yo. Hi, everyone.
Gang's back together.
Woo, it's been a while. I feel we took a good break after having to watch Goldberg wrestle. It was a mentally break for all of us, you know.
Needed that. We needed that, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, speaking of bad things, Monday Night Raw. Actually, it hasn't been that bad. I mean,
Yeah, it's been
I actually have
actually
zero
better.
complaints.
there's a lot to talk about, so we'll start with Raw. I mean, got a new champion. Yeah. Big E. I guess, how do y'all feel about Big E winning? You think it's
I love
rushed?
Big E.
You said you love it?
Yeah, I love him. So, I was, ready for it. Because, I always thought that he would get a championship. I didn't expect it now, but I was happy nonetheless. I was like, let's go, you know?
Yeah, I was glad they gave it to him finally. I figured that would be what would happen too. He would go to Raw and cash in on, Lashley. I figured it would be during a match after, with Xavier Woods or Kofi or something, like him come in to get his brother's backs, but he kind of did anyway. So, and the bloodline coming in added to it, which was actually pretty good too, because that sets up Big E and the rest of the New Day against the bloodline at Survivor Series or something like that, where they always cross promotions. And so I look forward to that. That'll be definitely hot.
Oh man, I actually got to give credit to Raw. I feel with their back against the wall right now, they're making changes that are needed for sure, because AEW is over there just killing it every show, it seems like. I mean, after we talked about it on the pay-per-view side, after that pay-per-view, they were just going to hit the gun running and just go. And I mean, they haven't stopped. And
they haven't stopped. But if you think about it, WWF was kind of in a lull. And then when WCW started hitting and every Nitro was a banging show, that's when Raw, WWE picked up their game and started delivering big shows too. So I feel like with the competition, and like somebody else said, Vince, even though he wanted to put all the rest of them out of business and everything, he actually thrives in the competition setting. So I think I look for the WWF to actually pick up their game even more and start putting on bigger matches and stuff.
I read about that too, the whole thing of Vince actually liking competition. And I was like, let's go then, I love this.
I think
it was Bischoff that actually, I think I was listening to his show, and he's the one that kind of came out with I expect them to now, start picking up their game because Vince loves competition, and that's when he's at his best, is when he has competition, because he tries so hard to, bury the competition that, that's when he picks his game up.
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't hear him say it, but I remember I saw a post about it, and he said that. And I mean, we've seen Vince do this with WCW before, and that was a legit war. I mean, I just feel he got comfortable, and we've seen him struggling. I mean, I have seen reports, of Fox and USA complaining about the product, and I know that also puts a fire under him. I mean, there's a lot that's been going on in the wrestling world, and we're not gonna get
I
into.
guess Fox was particularly upset about the CM Punk signing with the AEW thing because him and Fox had a good relationship, and they brought him in for the backstage show where that was Fox that brought him in, not the WWE. So they were really upset that WWE let him go to AEW.
Yeah, see, we got Dan in the building, Dylan in the building. Welcome, Brett, Raider Nation. I give y'all your respect. WCW was fire. Somebody said AEW over WWE. We don't pick sides here. Yeah, I mean, Raw's been out of the rest of the roster. How do you think it's been panning out? Like,
I actually think Raw's got the weaker roster out of even NXT. The NXT roster, I feel like it's better than the Raw roster right now as it's put together.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with Sai there. But also at the same time, like, I don't know, man, like with the draft coming up and all of that, I'm not sure if I actually want to see some of these wrestlers going over to Raw because then, like, places like SmackDown and NXT are going to lose those wrestlers, you get. But, yeah, I think Raw does have the weaker roster.
Yeah, I read something else, though, that they're going to start doing the crossing brands again, to try to help with ratings and stuff. Which I was never a big fan of the whole brand split thing anyway, because, I mean, again, that's what kind of led to this bloated roster that WWE has of all this talent that's just sitting at home for the most part or not even appearing on television. I wasn't a big fan of that in the first place. So, because if you have everybody working both shows, storylines can cross both shows. You can, that gives more development to the characters, the storylines and stuff. But
yeah,
you got to do what you got to do, I guess. I feel like that's kind of when they kind of started losing is when the roster split happened, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like the draft idea. I like the Survivor Series idea thing, but I feel you could do it in a different aspect, do it like stable versus stable type thing instead of brand versus brand. Cause
yeah.
You kind of, I mean, it's all scripted, but you kind of know, like, yeah, okay, we know who's gonna win this one. Like this pay-per-view, NXT, you have no shot, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then putting your champion on one show against your champion from the other show, one of them's going to lose, which means one of them's going to look weak. And why should your either champion look weak? Like when Brock demolished, who was it? Was it AJ a couple years back?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, yeah. Because AJ is far better than Brock.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
He's phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
In my opinion, I'm actually one of them guys that I feel like he's in the top 2 or 3 of all time. But I've watched his work everywhere else. Like when he was in TNA, I used to tell my brother all the time, he's the best in the world. And my brother didn't even know who I was talking about because he didn't watch TNA. But I was like, man, you're missing it because I really feel like he's one of the best 2 or 3 of all time, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man. Oh, gosh. AJ, he's out there in purgatory right now. Just, we miss you, AJ. But, I mean, I don't know. Raw, I know they said, the draft's in like 2 weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, there's people on Raw. I know Kieran Cross. I don't know what they're doing with him. Like this
they even got wrestle on main event. Nobody even watches that show.
Like the best meme I saw of the situation was Vince McMahon watching the movie 300, and he was like, "Kieran, I got a gig for you, bro." And I was just like, "Oh wow, that is perfect analysis of this." Because when he came out, I was like, "Who the hell is this person?" And then I see him, and I'm just like, "Oh, come on! Like, do not tell me this is like he looks like American Gladiator out here, just straight."
Yeah. It even kind of remind me of the Demolition Masks in a way, the way they would. Yeah, it wasn't very good.
And to think that this was like just the NXT champion just now, like it's such a mess. Such a mess.
Dominated that whole show, and then comes on and be like, "What's up, guys? I have my mask on now." And
the funny thing is, he's such a Vince guy as far as what you would think Vince would want. Just a big, huge, lumbering powerhouse that just beats people down. And that's what Vince has always pictured like as his prototype wrestler, is someone like Karrion Kross. And they just, I mean, I'll talk about somebody else when we move to the NXT part.
What about Keith Lee's new name?
Oh, God.
Please no. I hope they were just trying out things, but they're gonna stop.
No, they're going to stick with it. They even changed his gear with it on there and everything.
What was it again? Like
It's
Big
like
head.
grizzly bear or something.
Grizzly bears.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I
Make
saw
it
it.
make sense.
I saw it and I was like, nah, this is straight fake news.
Yeah, you thought it was fake, didn't you?
No, it was real. I was like, they're like, you know what? AEW got Adam Cole and the American Dragon. Let's go get a bear. Keith Lee, you're up, bro. We got a gladiator and a bear. We got this. It's a perfect movie. I don't know. I don't know. We'll go to NXT because Raw, as much as I'm giving them credit for doing better, there's still a lot of
out there.
Oh man. Okay, so NXT 2.0. We got a new one. Sadly, but happily, we got a new champion because what's his name? Samoa Joe's injured, and there was a lot of speculation though that people were like, "Oh, this is a Vince move. He's injured."
Yeah. Speculation was that they basically brought him in to give him the belt to take it off Cross, and then he was done. They wasn't going to let him wrestle anymore after that. Which, I mean, the timing of it kind of is pretty fishy.
Yeah. So, how do you two like NXT 2.0?
I think it's gonna take some time getting used to it. Cause like I still watch it and I'm like, oh, because it's like it's not, how do I put it? You see, if maybe Raw had made that transition, I feel like because like Raw has the bright lights and all of that, but then NXT was like black and gold, and then now there's this pop of color. So I think it's gonna take some getting used to. Because then sometimes I'm like, wait, this is NXT. Then yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they painted it with watercolors or something.
It reminds me of like Sesame Street vibes. Like I don't know. Like I'm giving it my time and effort so I can see before I really judge it.
Mm-hmm.
I like Wale as a rapper. I listen to him. I don't know if I like this song with this logo. It's kind of weird, and I don't know. Like watching it as like. I felt NXT was already hard for the casual wrestling fan. I feel now it's even harder.
Mm.
Yeah, because there's so many people that they don't know now that are being like focused on TV and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, I guess it's going to be more what they want it to be, but I feel like it's definitely going to lose a lot of fans. I feel like they almost threw a bone to the other guys by giving Ciampa the belt just to kind of placate like him and Gargano and them guys that are still there. But I feel like they're once they're done with, they're not going to try to re-sign them, or they may even release them soon. Who knows? But I feel like they're not long for that show. Just like Rick Steiner's son, that stupid ass name they gave him, Ron Breaker. We all know he's a Steiner, I mean, and his first name is Bronson. I mean, but go ahead and call him Bronson Steiner. You know what I mean? They're insulting our intelligence by not giving him the Steiner name. And he's definitely a Steiner in the ring. I mean, that dude's already ready for Raw or SmackDown, if you ask me, to be honest with you. He's definitely far and away the breakaway young talent in the NXT brand that needs to be pushed.
Yeah, I believe Booker T was talking about him. Talking about he's one of the guys that can go to main roster if they needed him right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, and that's what I would have went ahead and just debuted him on the main roster, just because I mean he's not going to be in NXT long. I don't see that.
They've already switched his name. He's a Raw bound right now. Once they switch your name, you're Raw bound.
Change your name,
Yeah.
It's like Matt Riddle. No, let's call you Riddle.
Mm-hmm.
And it rolls off the tongue better. It's like
Eric Bugenhausen. Now he's Rick Boogs. I mean,
I mean, I watched
worst is
it.
Dewdrop though. I mean, they totally. I mean, yeah, they butchered her with that name, Dewdrop.
Oh yeah, that was
I hate when they do that with people we already know.
Yeah.
Because it's like you've already got us, which they supposedly they were going to which Adam Cole did say that one of the things they pitched to him was changing his name. They were going to change his name, and he's been in the business for 14, 15 years, known around the country and in parts of the world as Adam Cole with the chants, and they were going to take all that away from him. And he even said that was kind of the red flag that told him, well, maybe I need to go ahead and go. He wouldn't. He said he didn't necessarily hear anything, but most of the people in the scuttlebutt backstages, they were going to try to have him manage Keith Lee. You take one of your best in-ring workers and probably the most over guy on that brand, and you're going to stick him in a managerial role and change his name. That's no wonder.
And I feel that's why, like, a big reason why you get legit, like, people saying, oh, AEW can beat out WWE. Because there's nothing they're showing us that, like, oh, man, you're making some changes. I like these changes. No, the changes you're making are even worse than what you were doing already. It's like you gave me Sesame Street on Tuesdays now with a bunch of characters. I don't know who they are. I'm trying to like them. I feel like I'm watching, like, a TNA. Like, Impact Wrestling. Like, I don't watch it all the time, but at least, like, NXT, I knew who was on NXT.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. You could tell me name, like, 5 people on there. I'd be like, dang, I guess Ciampa, Gargano, Swerve, Extra Loomis, LA Knight. And those are, like, all the guys that were already there. You tell me to name new people that they've been showing on TV, you ain't getting no. I don't know who they are. I don't know who they really are, and I know if I don't know who they are, the casual fan definitely don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Because the casual fan didn't even know who Gargano was when they came to Houston that one time. They're like, "Who's this guy?" I was like,
"Oh no!"
I was like, "Come on."
Yeah, the other one that needs to go ahead and go to the main roster is Cameron Grimes because he's so over, and he's another one that's been in the business for 10, 12, 15 years, and he's not going to, get any more in-ring polished, and his character's taken off. So I feel like that could translate to the main roster. And I think if they don't, he's going to be another one that's going to be dissatisfied. And that's the thing. They're losing their most over guys. It's not like they're losing, bottom rung guys. They're losing top talent. And to the point where even Kevin Steen is tweeting out the coordinates for Mount Rushmore. Because, like I told you guys, that was my favorite. PWG Mount Rushmore was awesome. I mean, you can look up that interview that's, on YouTube with him and Adam Cole and the Young Bucks backstage where he's, like, cussing left and right and looks at Adam Cole and says, I fucking hate you, man, but I'm got your back now, and stuff like that. It's just awesome when they're not giving a script what they can do and what they can come up with. And he's already basically hinting that he's leaving. So, I mean, that's another star. And honestly, if he goes, I mean, Sami Zayn, El Generico is probably not far behind. And I feel like if he was to go to AEW, he'd be putting the mask on. He'd be El Generico, having a blast, and that's the main thing. The difference is they seem to be having more fun in AEW because of the creative freedom and the friendships and stuff that go on backstage. They've all known each other for all these years, so there's no getting used to them. There's no politics because they're all friends and they've all known each other for so long. So I feel like that's going to definitely be the reason that AEW gains even more ground.
Yeah, I saw a report. I mean, I don't know how true it is, but it said that Bray Wyatt's supposedly supposed to be coming out in Rochester, New York
next week.
Yeah. And so they said that he has a clause in his contract where he can deny the rest of it as long as he just denies the pay. And so it's looking like, I mean, it's Brody Lee's hometown, this and that. And so if he comes out.
Rampage last night, they kind of hinted at something like that because it looked like the Dark Order was going to come back together, but they just went ahead and turned around and walked away. So, and then if you watch Being the Elite, John Silver's kind of been hinting at new leaders and this, you know. So it's, if you watch all of their products, the storylines play out a lot better. I know people don't got time to watch a lot of the YouTube stuff and the television stuff, but they really do blend the storylines, especially on Being the Elite, to where it's more cohesive and you can really understand and everything how it plays out.
I'm just saying, if he is one of my favorite wrestlers just because of his character building. Like I said, I will always be a fan even when he was the Wyatt family, but during the pandemic, when people were trying to figure out how to do matches and this and that, when him and John Cena did that crazy match, I was like, I don't know what I remember Matt Hardy tweeted, he goes, I don't know what I'm watching, but I like it. And I was like, that
exactly.
is right now.
It was crazy.
Exactly. It didn't follow a formula. It was something different. And, you know, the fact that it was so unpredictable made it interesting and entertaining to me. Same thing with the graveyard the graveyard match with AJ and Undertaker.
That was fun to watch.
That was great because it was something you hadn't seen 100 times before. And that's why it was entertaining.
Let's see. Dylan goes, Sai, what is AEW Dark Elevation? That was trending last night. LOL.
It's their younger talent, and they bring in the older talent too to help kind of to get the young guys some screen time and develop them and get them in ring time to where they can get used to being in the ring, have the camera in a certain spot, and basically get ready for when they graduate to the television shows.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Dylan asked me last night, and I didn't know what it was. And
they got Dark and Dark Elevation.
I've seen
actually two different YouTube shows, and I mean, some of them. I mean, there's been some decent matches on there, especially lately. Especially some of the women's matches that they have on those shows, because they haven't been giving the women a lot of time on Dynamite and Rampage here lately, which is kind of sad. But I feel like I did hear they're bringing out a secondary women's title, like the TBS women's belt. So hopefully that will get a second feud, not just Britt and whoever she's wrestling, but it'll get a second feud. Like now they're kind of building up a three-way feud between Jade, Nyla, and Thunder Rosa. And that right there will really test Jade and how far she's come in the ring, if you ask me, because Thunder Rosa's no joke in the ring, and Nyla's a bruiser. She's no joke in the ring. So that will really test Jade out right there.
Yeah. I love Jade anyway, so.
I think we've all established that here. We all just love Jade.
Yeah, I don't care. Whatever match she's in, I'm rooting for her.
Yeah.
Unless
she's
it's
definitely got star written all over. There ain't no doubt about it.
And they're pushing her the right way, I feel. Like they're not rushing her. They're not.
Slow burn. Don't throw her out to where everybody can make fun of her for being green and not having it polished in ring, product and stuff like they have Nia for all this time. Don't do that.
Nia's been getting tore up by her coworkers and the universe. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, do you think at some point AEW puts a pause on the signings?
I'd say that's coming pretty soon, but I don't see it. They ain't going to pause while Wyatt's. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's already signed. And from what I hear, Braun's going to Impact. So I don't think there's a lot. I feel like the Bollywood Boys would be good in AEW. I do feel like they might be someone they sign, and probably hopefully the Iconics.
I would love that.
Other than that, I don't really see anybody left for them to have to necessarily bring in that would help them too much.
Did you guys
I think the Iconics would help the women's division big time.
Yeah. Did you guys hear earlier on this week? I read this other report where they were talking about like how AEW supposedly passed on Buddy Murphy.
I read that yesterday. Yeah.
So I feel
Which
like
is crazy
maybe
because he kind of fits AEW's style,
He does. But I feel like maybe they are just gonna start slowing down, and then eventually they're gonna just not really stop, but like.
So he'll probably end up in Impact too. Then I expect, and he'll probably do some New Japan.
Oh, I want to see him in New Japan. Ooh.
I've been that match yesterday with Moxley and Kingston versus Lance Archer and oh my gosh,
Suzuki.
yeah. I was like, how did I forget his name? That one was like, I was so glad my NBA show was over so I could enjoy that match. I missed every other match. I missed all of SmackDown, and then I was busy eating during the rest of the other one, so I stopped just for that match.
Both the AEW shows were actually pretty good this week, to be honest. I mean, of course, Dynamite starting off with that Danielson Omega 5-star, TV classic. That could be the best TV match I've seen. I mean, ever. I mean, they just it was a pure wrestling match. You didn't have any BS shenanigans with people coming in during the match and interfering.
Yeah.
Even Callis didn't even really interfere, and he was down there by the ring. And so I feel like, man, I can't wait for the 60-minute Iron Man or 2 out of 3 fall match that they're going to end up having, because it's going to literally be awesome.
That's going to be some like legit pay-per-view material right there, I feel. So I think their next one's in November, I think, right?
Full year. And then the Young Bucks, Cole, Jungle Boy, and Christian, that 6-man match. I mean, that was amazing. That could have fit in any main event slot anywhere, because both teams were just awesome. Even Luchasaurus's big slow butt was, doing some good stuff last night. I mean, it was really good. And of course, Christian's always solid. I almost don't ever talk about him because it's like I almost just expected of him. He's Christian. He's one of the best of all time for a reason, and he's definitely contributed a lot since he's been there, I feel. But the Minoru Suzuki, when they let his song play, you actually hear an American crowd sing along. That shows you right there that that's a bad dude that everybody loves right there.
And so I feel like the fans that left WWE at some point, are the ones that are really enjoying AEW, because there's certain things that they do in matches. Like yesterday, what's his in Hollywood, Haas, he flicking fans off. Like, it's just it makes me like, I get Charlotte did it, but it was kind of like, he literally went up to these fans and started flicking them off, and then he walked off and flicked them off again. And like MJF's parents going in there.
Oh man, that was awesome! Did you guys see that? The tweets and stuff where they, apologizing for bringing him into the earth, and then what'd they say? Yeah, we think he sucks too. And so MJF tweeted back, "Fuck off, mom." I thought that was awesome. That shows that they support. They've been supportive of him the whole time, and all that. But it was funny. They even had signs that said, "We're sorry," and stuff like that. So yeah, that was awesome. That's the first time I've ever heard anybody's parents actually, play along with the heel persona and stuff like that. That was awesome.
That's why people all over the internet were like, the ultimate heel, like the perfect heel is right here. This guy is just money.
Yeah, because he takes it everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, the dude flicks kids off, and it's like, I ain't mad at you, bro. Like, and that's why I love people that are always like, man, I hate this guy. I'm like, that's his job. You're supposed to hate him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you don't get it. I just hate him so much. I'm like, oh, that means he's doing real good then. Yeah,
I do get it. Yeah, I know. I understand. Yeah, that's exactly what he's supposed to be doing. Like the Young Bucks, people now are just hating all over. Well, yeah, they're ridiculous because they want that reaction out of you.
Yeah.
They're actually good dudes. If you watch any of the, stuff that they've, the backstage stuff when they're not in character and stuff, they're just awesome dudes. Like the Canyon Dark Side of the Ring. They had nothing negative to say about the dude at all. When other people were talking trash, they didn't say anything negative about him, like Flair or John Cena,
Oh, God,
which I'm not into the whole cancel John Cena because of it.
Yeah.
Because he's a company dude, and he was just, throwing out the company line, which is bullshit, by the way, because Canyon was an innovator. He was a very good wrestler. He was putting moves out there that, it's like he was pre-AEW style before AEW existed, because those are the type of moves he brought into the business, is, that type of stuff, the high impact, type of style, quick, fast, you know, he did flips. Like, you know, a lot of his things were like he would take a regular basic move and then put a twist on it, and that you'd never seen before. So to say for Flair, and Flair was really the one that got me, because you could see the smile on Canyon's face when Flair called in to Howard Stern. He smiled. He was like happy. My hero, my idol, is calling in to talk about me. And then once Flair started saying that, you seen just the despair on his face. And that one was, I was like, man, you know, how dare you? And again, Flair's just spewing out the company line. No, you know. But if you look at all the evidence, the way they had him come out in the Boy George gimmick singing, "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?" with an even more pronounced lisp than what he already had, they were clearly sending him a message and poking fun at him. I don't care what anybody says. They had him do that for a reason. And then had the Undertaker put a whooping on him that looked stiff as hell and bent the chair over his head. You know, that, I don't care what anybody says, that was definitely planned. They wanted that to happen. They were sending him a message. You know, it's just horrible what happened to him.
It definitely is.
Yeah, I think like the past 2 episodes we've gotten has really shown. I think Rob Van Dam said it like very well. He goes, there's just certain things you don't want to see your heroes do, or you know what they do. And I feel like it's hard because you know who was all wrestling at that time, and a lot of these are legends that you look up to, and you're like, I mean, we all know how the wrestling community has, you know, started to get a light of different things. I mean, the pills, the steroids, everything else, you know, mental illness. And I just feel like now more is even coming out. I mean, like, they took Ric Flair off of everything. Like,
Ric Flair definitely dropped. I mean, both episodes made him look just like a horribly disgusting human being. You know.
Yeah. And I like all over like the internet, like everything I see of him, like, is just like people are like, I don't care about this dude. Get him off of here. Like, I don't even want to see him anymore. Like, it's totally flipped because I mean, this dude, he was doing commercials. He has commercials that the companies were like, no, we're pulling off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, they didn't even have it. I think it was like a State Farm or an Allstate commercial, and they were like, we're not even going to air it. We're just going to cancel it. And I was like,
what's bad about it though is I just seen yesterday that they're doing that whole thing where they turn around and start attacking the victim's credibility. Because, like, I guess she was arrested a few times for like theft and conspiracies for theft and stuff like that. That doesn't mean that didn't happen. What he did,
Exactly.
And obviously it did, because Dustin was drunk and doing stupid stuff, and he even thought Flair crossed the line when he was back here with her. So to try to, you know, knock her because of things that happened, that doesn't say Flair didn't do it. We all, and the whole living the gimmick, we all know and have heard for years he's lived his gimmick, silent profiling, you know, blah, 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 womenizing and all that. That's a lot different than what we heard, you know, on Dark Side of the Ring and in the Canyon episode too, to be honest with you.
And the tweet that he put out afterwards also, like the tweet that he put out afterwards where he was just kind of denying it. I was like,
yeah.
Yeah,
they're even trying to like say that during the tour that those same women were out partying and drinking with the wrestlers and stuff. That still doesn't change the fact that what he did on the plane. No matter what happened, you do not have the right to push yourself onto someone and, you know, do what he did. I don't care. They could have been drunker and snot the night before. They could have been hitting on you the night before. That still doesn't change the fact that you pushed her into the back room and tried to force yourself on her. You know? And Tommy Dreamer looked just as bad as Flair, if you ask me, by condoning it and by, you know, saying everything he said. He definitely made himself look bad. He should have just been like, you know, Flair's Flair. Who knows what really happened? Maybe something like that. But he was hardcore, hard stance. Flair didn't do nothing wrong. When everybody else was like, no, Flair did something wrong. He even admitted to the helicopter thing and stuff. So you're saying that you ran around naked in this plane with these women walking around and stuff, and so you expect me to believe the other stuff didn't happen? It's just crazy.
Yeah, and I feel like, man, it's weird because I mean, in the video they were saying like, you know, where's Vince at? Where's Vince at? Oh, it's JR's job. But I'm like, this is your company, bro. Like these people represent you. And
Well,
so
then
I,
come to find out, Vince and Linda actually weren't on the plane. Coach
Yeah.
came out and he was like, "No, they're getting the two stories mixed up of him fighting Kurt Angle on the other plane and all that stuff. That's not the same thing." And I trust Coachman and his view before I trust a bunch of drunk, drunk wrestlers that that also admitted to H-bombing unsuspecting women and having their way with them.
Yeah.
It's crazy because even Shawn Michaels now, there's things coming out about an old shoot interview Bruce Bar Beefcake did where he talks about how Shawn and Marty would H-bomb these women, take them back to their rooms, have their way with them, and then literally just throw them out of the room in the hall naked with their clothes thrown behind them. If that happened, Shawn Michaels is in trouble too, to be honest with you. This is not the environment to be revealing that kind of information if you're trying to protect somebody, because today's day and age, they don't care if it happened 50 years ago, they're going to try to cancel
it. Happened.
Yeah, and that's why I think right now, like that one episode is unraveling a lot. And I mean, some of the guys, you could tell some of the guys knew what happened, but like you said, they protected themselves. They're like, I don't know what happened. I mean, they could have done what Tommy Dreamer said, but you see what happened to Tommy Dreamer. He got canceled right off, and nobody wants to deal with him. He had to put an apology out there, which he got chewed up on Twitter. And so it's just like, but I mean, if it happened, it happened. You have to own up to your mistakes, whether it's 50 years from now or whatever. And I feel the way, I don't want to say it's going to be a blemish on WWE, but it really kind of is, especially at the time that it's happening. Like you're in a war right now. No matter what you want to say, you're in a war right now against another company that has people that don't like you. First of all, they don't like your company,
and people that don't do that type of crazy stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It seems like most of the AEW guys are like squeaky clean. Like they're all mostly like straight edge, I guess. Say. And so that's definitely going to work in AEW. I feel like it's just going to keep unraveling more and more. Like we still got the steroid trials episode coming later on in the season, and there's a lot of stuff that I've heard in the past years, where like basically Hogan, basically got up there and got Vince off the hook, even though, he shouldn't have, and Vince probably should have went to jail. Like I'm one of them guys that the leader is the leader. If it's your team, you should be responsible for whatever your team did. You know what I mean? And like you said, if he would have been on that plane and that stuff still happened, Vince should have been prosecuted, to be honest with you. So I feel like this is just going to keep bringing, like you said, more and more and more and more stuff out, stories. Terry, talking about Brock. How is Brock getting out of this? Nobody's even saying nothing about Brock. I
was wondering that.
Gold Dustin. Yeah, I mean, all they talked about on the show was when he was drunkenly singing to Terry about, their divorce and stuff. But if you look in the transcripts of the civil trial, it's mentioned in there where he was basically acting the same way Flair was to the one, he was acting to the other stewardess. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's, I think that episode alone is going to lead to.
It's going to be an interesting rest of the year, I feel, in the wrestling community. Like,
it's insane. And now they're even trying to attack the guys that produce that show, when this whole time everybody's been like, oh, this is the greatest show. I love the fact that it's giving us a backstage look and a history lesson and this and the other. Now fans are trying to attack the credibility of these guys, and all they're doing is reporting what was said. And it's crazy. You should be attacking the credibility of the guys that were acting stupid on that damn plane. Yes, they shouldn't have been overserved the alcohol. That's definitely, one thing that should have been addressed. Those big, and the Brock and Kurt fight, as it was just between them two, but man, could you imagine them two big, huge dudes slamming each other around in an airplane that's in the air? And that's just crazy.
Yeah, I would have been.
Do you guys remember that time? I think it was the Undertaker, right? When he was, I think he was talking about like how the backstage area now and the locker room, it's like it has a different vibe to like back then and whatever. And he was basically coming at this generation and this era's ways of doing things. And like, you're hearing all of these stories right now, and you're like, that's what you preferred? That's what you actually preferred over what's happening now? Nah, I'd rather take them just playing video games in the back, honestly. Because
Exactly. That's crazy. I thought when that came out, my first thought was the Undertaker was supposedly the locker room leader during that time.
yeah,
Where was he at while all this was going on? You know,
Yeah.
true.
our guys like, The Rock, he was still there at the time. Austin, I mean, he was still doing some stuff because it was like insurrection, but it was around the invasion time. So all them other guys were still there. Kurt Angle, where were all these other guys that were supposedly the locker room leaders of the group while all this crazy shit was going on?
Yeah.
It's amazing. But of course, we've all heard about the Austin stuff too, and the things that he's done, and definitely besmirches his character for sure.
Yeah, I feel like JR kind of threw out the hint of he's glad the next generation changed stuff. Like it took a whole generation of wrestlers to be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that. And I mean, it's good. It's good for the now wrestlers that, look up. But I mean, it's hard, like, especially being a wrestler, like, oh, I look up to Austin. I want to be Austin. I want to be Undertaker. I want to be, this guy and that guy and this girl and that girl. And then you find out this stuff, it's kind of like, well, dang, like, and I know like in the business, they probably have heard about it and all that, but I'm just glad like a lot of the generation wrestlers now, like they just want to have fun. And that's why I said it gets back to like you said, AEW looks like they're having fun. Like I can go do a match and I can go do a Twitch video right afterwards and I'm just going to make money. Whereas AEW, I can't even do that because then I got to give you my money. It's like, I don't get it. I think these next few episodes that keep coming out are going to keep just, I mean, if I'm making those shows, I'm going at people every show now because I want the truth to come out, but also controversy is good for TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you're coming on my video and you're yelling at me because of something Flair did, that's fine because now you're helping me out because you're going to my video to watch me.
Yeah. Guys, do you guys
even
remember?
the Luna episode still got to come out, and there's a lot of that. I feel like we're going to hear a lot of stuff that happened to her, and especially to hold her down while she was in the WWF. Because, I mean, let's be honest, she was the first of her kind. I mean, she was an original. She was unique, unlike anybody else. And she had family history in the business. They should have been pushing her out in the forefront, because she was good too. But there was something not right there. I just feel like there's a story that we're going to hear that's not going to be very good when that episode comes out too.
Yeah. Do you guys remember at some point when I think there was like this rumor that like the Miz was kind of difficult to work with backstage and all of that, right? I saw a tweet, a very interesting tweet, it made me laugh a bit, where they were like, Maurice is probably keeping the Miz on a leash because you never hear one bad thing about him. Never. So, it also gets you thinking where it's like, okay, people who perhaps weren't really engaging in activities that were deemed appropriate by the rest of the locker room, they were then seen as the problems of the locker room, you get. So, yeah.
I feel like that's also part of the reason why WWE went the whole PG route is because they had to, because they knew these stories were alive and that they were going to be told somewhere eventually, So I feel like they basically had to clean up their act, because if they didn't, they was definitely going to go down as a company. Because I mean, like the awesome, domestic stuff, and that definitely hurt the company's reputation, because that's your top guy, and the woman he's married to and has on screen with him, he's beating at home, things like that. And it definitely, I mean, and again, I'm sorry, but I can't let the Undertaker off of the leash. He's and everybody from that era says he was the unquestioned locker room general
Leader.
and during that time. Like everybody deferred to Undertaker when it came to backstage locker room stuff. And for him not to stand up and defend some of the people, even you hear Rene Dupree, the one that was La Resistance.
Yep.
The stories he tells about his time there, it's just amazing how little the top guys did to look out for and defend a lot of the up and coming guys. They allowed them to be bullied. They allowed the bullying guys.
Even encouraged it.
And you do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like it's the culture of wrestling back then was like we said, acceptable with them. And that's why I said we can't really, I can't let Undertaker, I can't let Stone Cold, I can't let any of them off of the hook because you allowed it. And like y'all said earlier with Undertaker being like, oh, well, you know, now the locker room's soft. No, it's just different. It's they've learned from y'all's mistakes and they don't want to do that. A lot of these guys now are family men. Like they're not going out. Yeah, you do have your partiers on there, you know, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them are family. I mean, they're dating each other. They're hanging out. They're doing ETV, Dancing with the Stars. I mean,
their families backstage with them.
Yeah, it's a totally different environment. I think when they put, you know, Triple H as COO, I think it makes sense. Like you're bridging somebody that, as we know now, knows the dark history of wrestling, but he also wants, I guess, change for the next generation. So, I mean, if you have an older guy, it's like, hey, we used to do it this way, and he's like, yeah, we ain't doing it that way no more, dude. Like,
and a lot of the things I think had led to the change of the young generation and stuff too was all the deaths of that entire generation of all them people dying as young as they died, even as recently as Daphne. She's from the Monday Night War era, you know, taking her own life and stuff. Those horror stories, I feel like, had a lot to do with this generation because you don't hear about any of these younger people doing that stuff, you know, taking their life, you know, doing crazy stuff. I mean, the closest would be maybe Nick Gage but I don't consider him. He's kind of he's a weird cat, you know. But he's the only one that I've heard of doing like really obnoxiously crazy, off the ball stuff to other people to bring harm or anything, or to himself.
Yeah, it's gonna be I just feel for like the Godfather, and the Godfather is Undertaker from what we hear, but for somebody of Ric Flair's caliber to just get thrown, one day you're a god in wrestling, to the next day you're out there just straight, nobody cares about you, bro. Like if that can happen to Ric Flair right now in this business, all you other people, like I would try to stay off of wrestling. I would try to stay away. I'm just in my like, and I mean, maybe that's why Undertaker's like, nah, bro, I'm out. Or Shawn Michaels like, hey, y'all can keep this Sesame Street NXT. I'm out here later. Like, cause I mean, the thing is, you're not going to get away from it. There's going to be people that overlook it. And like we said, people are going after the people that are making the show. But I do feel that a lot of the people that are going after them are going to stay there. Because some of these aren't even wrestling fans. Some of these are just straight people that are hearing the story. And like, because it was everywhere. Like,
yeah,
it was on networks that don't even talk wrestling. And I was just like, oh, snap. Like, and that's what I didn't watch it until y'all were talking about it in the chat, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta watch this." I don't know what they're talking about. But
yeah, I just expected to hear the same shit we've been hearing for 20 years. You know, just guys getting crazy and doing stuff. That right there, when that information and Scott Hall, I mean, yeah, we knew how bad he was as far as his addictions and stuff back then. But again, you still can't excuse the behavior that came along with it. You can't. I was telling my wife, I've been so drunk I puked for 24 hours straight before, but I didn't do that stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I still can't. You know, I've never been so drunk where I've done that, acted like that ever.
Yeah, there was. I mean, even the stories of like mixing pills and drinking. Like I know I can drink. There's those days where we're throwing down barbecue and everything. I can drink, but them boys, They were
Doing too much. They were doing too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all are tripping. Like, I
Well, when
already,
that lady said they went through 3 full cards and that she's never even went through one, I was like, holy shit. I mean, could you imagine how much they had to drink? And it's not like it was a full, 200 people on the plane. It was just them 40 or 50 people that went through all that alcohol. And they were admitting to even H-bombing each other,
Yeah.
throwing stuff in each other's drinks and crap, which Scott Hall swears up and down that's what happened to him, which it could have. But, I mean, it's crazy.
yeah. And
And especially when they said that they've done, I mean, it's hard telling how many women out there in the world that were wrestling
stories.
fans, ring rats, or whatever you want to call them, that had that done to them. I just can't imagine how many people, especially when we hear Marty Jannetty and the fact that he's still going through some of that same crap in his life right now. I'm like, holy crap, man. Like they said, you never want to meet your heroes because then all of a sudden you hear all the bad crap about them too.
yeah, I think it really I believe it was RVD that said it, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because like you get the feel of it. Okay, this is happening, and then he just was like, "Hey, man, this was the culture." Like, and
even Missy Hyatt came out and said that it was just what happened. It was just part of the normal life of being a wrestler and stuff. I felt really bad for Terry because like even her own husband's telling her, don't sell it.
yeah,
Wait a minute, that dude just whipped this thing out to your woman, basically like, come on. And
like,
not only are you telling her not to sell it, but you're not going in there and fist fighting that dude.
yeah.
You know what I mean,
Let that happen now.
yeah. I mean,
Let that happen now.
You
You
fist
go.
fighting him. I don't care if he's Brock Lesnar or not. So I would have took something with me and hit his ass with it.
Yeah.
And everybody told her that when she kept saying everything that she had to say, and that phrase would kept being, "Don't sell it, don't sell it." I'm like, are you kidding? So that was just something that they told everybody. All the women. Can you imagine even all the women in the industry that have these horror stories? I feel like they're going to come out too. They've got to. I feel like now they're kind of empowered to come out. Whereas before they might have felt like, oh, we'd be blacklisted and won't be able to work in this industry again. I feel like now they might be empowered to come out, and we're really going to end up getting some horror stories.
Yeah, because I mean, over the years we've had maybe one, and then it kind of dies down. But I feel this was that fire that is going to start. I mean, we've gotten 2 shows back to back that have put big blemishes on people. I mean, Ric Flair, this dude just needs to stay home. Don't go nowhere, bro, because nobody's a fan right now of you, really.
Yeah.
Like, it's so bad. Like, I'm an Astros fan, bro. Even at the Astros games, we used to do the woo because of one of the players.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that in like 5 games, bro. Like, it's that bad. Like, people are just like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, I won't be surprised when we get Charlotte only by the.
That's what I was getting ready to say, man. She's going to end up getting a lot of the heat from it and a backlash from it, which is really sad. Because she knows very well what her dad has been in his life, and a lot of the time he wasn't even there for her and her brothers and stuff. So she has her own private issues with her dad, and now hearing all this, and I'm sure she's already dealing with enough from it, and I think the fans are going to end up piling on her because of it, and I think that's really sad.
Yeah. Remember how there was rumor going around that like he might be joining AEW to, be Andrade's new manager and stuff. I love how AEW immediately when there's an issue with you, they don't even take time. They just back off immediately. So I feel like Tony Khan has already been like, yeah, nah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, they were definitely setting it up for Flair to come in as his new manager guy. They got rid of Chavo. Flair was hanging around backstage with a lot of the AEW guys. He was on an episode of Being the Elite, paid for their restaurant tab and stuff. And now they're not even hinting at him. Like even when Gallows was wearing the Ric Flair robe in the one video and trying to hint, they shut all that down. Tony Khan, he's a no nonsense when it comes to that kind of stuff, and there's no way Flair's coming in there now. I mean, I feel like that's why Marty Scurll hasn't showed up yet, is because there's still some baggage and heat from the incident with him, which his incident was actually consensual by law in England, and he's still getting a lot of. So that tells me that Tony Khan ain't playing around when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, even suspending Max Caster for the rap that he did, which was just a rap, throwing out jokes and he ain't playing around. He's definitely the unquestioned boss. I mean, he allows everybody their creative input and all that stuff, but he's still showing that he's the boss of that company.
Yeah. I mean, he does have to answer to TNT. It's a big network. Turner, I mean, he has so many connections right now. I mean, you got UFC people showing up. Masvidal showed up yesterday.
That was so awesome.
Like,
he totally been asking Jericho, boy.
It's just I get it. I'm gonna give you the freedom. Like I said, it reminds me of old school wrestling. Like, it's cool again. Like, AEW wrestling is cool.
Yeah.
WWE wrestling outside of like the bloodline it's like, like I feel like, I have to dress up as John Cena to go watch it. Like I don't want to do that. Like, I don't know. It's a different feel. Like, it has its moments where I'm like, yeah, this is, it's fun to watch. But AEW brings me back. I reminisce of like old school stuff. Like, dang, they just did that. He just grabbed Moxley and just hung him by a belt. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, that's allowed on TV. And it was just like crazy stuff like that, where it's like, I can't even get blood in WWE. It's like, oh, no, you're bleeding. Stop the match, clean it up. Like, bro, I watch UFC. I don't mind that. It's like I feel they changed, and instead of just, okay, we're here now, we can stop, they just kept going and kept going and kept going. And it's just like, I see more action in like Disney movies sometimes. Like, I don't know. It's
so much. WWF's so overrun with promos and backstage skits and things like that like somebody even counted, what was it? We're 47 minutes into Rampage and we've only had 1 2-minute promo. So that in 47 minutes you'd have had 25 minutes worth of promos in WWF. Yeah. Every match now is like a 2-minute match, it's getting to be a little ridiculous. If they beat Demon Fowler and make that Brock Roman match for the title at Crown Jewel, man, that's going to be tough right there.
It's going to happen.
That's going to be quite a
because
situation.
I mean, you shatter the whole mystique of even bringing the Demon in if you have him lose when he's never lost as the Demon. You take and if you're Finn Balor, you're thinking, well, that's something else they're taking away from me. The one thing I had that was over and never got beat, and if people could count on, you're going to take that from me too. So why should I even sit here? So Mick Foley said it best. He was like, WWE, we have a problem. And it's because, like you said, you're guys that we have known have been great for years. You're putting them in backseat roles, and it's crazy.
I want to have faith. I want to believe. It's just, I can say I'm happy that it's fall because I have more options of things to watch now. And so I have baseball, I have basketball coming up, I have football.
Yeah.
So for right now, it's like, I don't care as much for wrestling because you're not giving me, like, don't get me wrong. AEW, I'm watching AEW. You can move it to PBS Kids for all, like, I will watch it. Raw, depending on who's playing in football, I'm going to watch it.
But they're trying to blame that even on the ratings. The ratings were going down and were tanking before football came back, Dancing with the Stars, whatever you want to say. They were tanking before those shows came back. Yeah. So you can't use that excuse like they're trying to do and say, well, we're competing against football. Well, you wasn't for 6 months, what I mean? And your ratings were still tanking. So what's that? What's the excuse there?
And you're still going down. It's like, it's like, come on, man. Like, at some point you have to find stability. And I don't know.
SmackDown being on Friday night's a good night because there's nothing really else on TV on Friday night, so they don't really have competition. Because most of even the professional sports, they're weekend based, and then maybe like a Tuesday, Wednesday. You know what I mean? And then you got Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football, but most of the other stuff they're more weekend based. So Friday's a great night for that, but Monday night isn't necessarily prime time anymore. Even the TV shows they bring out now are getting like huge ratings, 11, 12s, and WWF ain't even getting a 1.
I mean, in AEW, they're shattering some records and views, and I get people who are like, "Oh, it's because they brought CM Punk this day and they brought this day." I mean, but they're giving the fans what they want.
Things.
I'm so tired of that. All they do is sign WWE guys. I can say it till I'm blue in the face. They were Ring of Honor, PWG guys before they were ever WWE. To be honest with you, and I'm thinking about putting an article out about it. PWG is probably actually the most influential company on today's wrestling product because 90% of the guys that are the big stars of today came through PWG. You know? Not even just Ring of Honor. Most of them, they were all PWG, and PWG still to this day, the Battle of Los Angeles brings the guys from all over the world. They all want to go there because those are the best guys competing in that tournament, and every match is a banger, And so to me, over today's modern product, PWG is hands down the most influential on today's style and today's product than any company in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather watch it than NXT sometimes. So.
And if you guys have never checked out PWG, you need to check it out. I mean, it's great, especially before, like, even while a lot of them guys were in Ring of Honor, they were still wrestling in PWG because they loved the guys that were. Excalibur is one of the owners. Excalibur, the announcer for AEW, he's one of the owners of PWG.
Yeah.
So, they're definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, I think I'm in a Facebook group where they talk about them like all the time, and that's when I finally started to like pay attention. Like, hold on, like this is something that interests me. And I mean, I don't know. I can see the lines now in wrestling. You have your hardcore WWE, you have your hardcore AEW fans, and then you have those middle fans. And I said the arguments between, some of the arguments from AEW fans are legit because that's why people stop watching wrestling. A lot of those fans, like I do feel, were people that I know. There was a point in time where I stopped completely. It was, I believe, that 2002 time where like Cena was running everything. Like, I honestly missed majority of the CM Punk one because of just I was on and off watching it. I missed majority of the Shield one. I had to go back and rewatch stuff because of I just was uninterested in it. And she's back. So yeah, I don't know. I get where they're coming from because when I came back to wrestling, I didn't have anything else to watch but WWE. Now, I would probably have been like, I'm not watching that. I'm gonna go watch AEW. And now I'm too invested in WWE. I can't stop now. Like, you got Roman and all them, and
which I want both. I want WWE to pick up their game. I want both companies to be good, like it used to be when all the companies were good. But I grew up when it was AWA, NWA, WWF. Then you had World Class in Texas with the Von Erichs and stuff, and you had all these other little territories that you still would see on like small TV shows. They'd be late at night or whatever, but you had variety. And then the reason it got boring and people left is because when you only have one, version of what you like, and it's not even the version you like, then what else are you gonna watch? You ain't gonna force yourself into watching something that you don't like.
Yeah, that's I hope they do. I'm gonna judge after Crown Jewel because I hate this pay-per-view. This pay-per-view is a waste of time. I feel like I get why it is money. I get it, but I just don't like this. I don't like this pay-per-view. I don't even want to get on the pay-per-view we have tomorrow that we're going to be talking about because I'm going to save that for tomorrow. My rant for tomorrow is legit.
Yeah, especially when it doesn't even live up to the name of the pay-per-view. Extreme Rules. That means
People
like
have been
anything
making
goes,
those.
beating the shit out of each other with weapons, crazy matches and all that. And there's none. I don't even think there's a stipulation match.
I think the only match
There's the
yeah,
Roman and Finn one. It's an Extreme Rules match.
Oh,
that's it.
okay, that's the only one.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why I said like I don't know, like I don't even want to say like Extreme Rules is tomorrow. I just want to say like WWE Rules pay-per-view is. I don't know. I'm gonna make a logo or something for it. I ain't gonna say
People
Extreme
are
One.
making graphics. People are making graphics like removing extreme and putting regular rules.
Yeah, it's just like I feel like I'm gonna watch Raw.
Yeah.
Like yay! I mean, if it was an extreme shit, I mean, this Dynamite that we just got in Rampage, that was more extreme than what I'm getting on tomorrow.
Exactly.
I feel like. I mean, I had literally seen Kingston just murder a trash can yesterday with a kendo stick. Like, I mean,
And
no,
what
I'm
was
not
cool is, most of the time, it wasn't doing nothing, but you could actually see a couple angles where when he was hitting, that's where Archer's head was actually at. And Archer was kind of like flinching, like, "Oh, dude, that's my," So it was pretty cool. I love when but I've liked Suzuki forever. I mean, he's just insane. Especially when he's loud. And I feel like that's a lot of the big thing the WWF does too, is they take a lot of the arsenals away from the guys when they bring them in. They're not allowed to do the crazier moves that they are known for. Like you even seen different moves out of Bryan Danielson in the match with Kenny Omega than he was allowed to use in the WWE. Like there's no way they would have let him take that
Off the ramp.
Off the top rope. Yeah, and even the V trigger when Kenny's running down the ramp like that, they've been like, no, we gotta save him. He can't take that move. No, he showed you he can still take it and he can still perform at a high level. And that was his first 5-star match, which I found just ridiculously crazy because he's had some great matches and Nigel McGuinness matches in Ring of Honor, Samoa Joe matches in Ring of Honor, CM Punk matches in Ring of Honor. I just couldn't believe that was his first 5-star. The matches he had against Kenta, back when Kenta was one of the top in the world, were 5-star matches. To me, I don't understand. But hey, congratulations, he got his first one. Of course, I'm making credit for that.
I'm sorry, guys. I have a question. Right on SmackDown yesterday, Liv Morgan lost clean.
Riddick Moss, yeah.
Why? Oh, I was like, they're not being serious. They're not being serious.
They're bound and determined to give Baron Corbin a stable somehow. He had the one with the Cutler and Wesley Blake. They disbanded that, but he even had that one that was short-lived with Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley, and they disbanded that one too. But they're good at that. Like I was a big fan of the one that had Sheamus, Rusev, Alberto Del Rio.
Oh,
yeah.
the nations.
Yeah, I like that one because I had an idea where they should have stuck Sheamus, Wade Barrett, and Drew McIntyre together and called them like the United Kings because they represented each segment.
Yeah,
of the United Kingdom. So when they did that with Rusev and Alberto Del Rio too, I was like, nice, all right. Finally, they're kind of, but no, that didn't last at all either.
I mean, like you said, they scrap. I mean, everybody loved the Hurt Business, got merch, and then boop, let's kill it. I'm surprised they haven't killed the Bloodline yet. It's only because Roman's there, because they love killing good stuff. It's like, why? It would be one thing if you overdid it, and like that's why I said there was times where I feel like the New Day was getting, to me, it was getting boring because I was like, I'm only getting you now, and it's like I want new stuff, like. And then I'd get it, and then they're like, all right, we're done. Like 2 weeks in, we're done. Let's go back to New Day. And it's just like, okay, I love the New Day. I get it, yes, but I don't want to see them every day. I'm even seeing them now on like Mondays and Fridays. I'm surprised I'm gonna end up seeing one on Tuesdays on NXT or something. I'm like, come on, man. Like,
which they're hinting at bringing the New Day or the Hurt Business back together. MVP tweeted out a picture of him and Shelton Benjamin on the plane. Talking and said we're talking business, so they're kind of hinting at perhaps maybe bringing them back together because everybody's pissed off that they broke them up anyway. So I mean, why?
Twitter was on fire when they did that.
then people act like AEW all with the factions and say, oh, there's so many. Well, so yeah, that happens in every walk of life. There's cliques and segments of friends within each. If I go to work at the factory, there's cliques in the factory at work. You know what I mean? Everyone. So why shouldn't that be reflected in the wrestling business? If you want to add some realism to it, then there should be little cliques and factions within
And they can continue to have like individuality also, like with the inner circle on AEW and all of that, like how they keeping them together, but they all doing their own things. It's one of those things, man.
Yeah, Jericho said that he was wanting to split them up, and that
Yeah.
Tony Khan was like, "No, we ain't splitting you guys up. We'll just let you guys do your different stuff." But see, then when you do that, it creates like what happened last night and Wednesday night. So Sammy's getting jumped by Rusev and getting beat. Nobody comes to help him. Jericho and Hager's getting the shit beat out of them by all these MMA guys, and the rest of the guys didn't come out to help them out. So Tony Khan should have just let them split up then. If you ain't going to have them at least during those moments come in and help each other, then why even keep them together? Sammy even still wears his damn inner circle.
I saw that.
Okay.
I was wondering because I've been like, are they split up already or are they not? And then nobody came to help each other. And I'm like, all right.
Maybe they did.
They don't even talk about each other no more.
Yeah.
Like they don't even reference the inner circle on TV or anything. I think Jericho might have a couple weeks ago on commentary when Sammy came out, but that was it. That's the only thing I've heard. And then you got Santana and Ortiz teaming up with the Lucha Brothers instead of their own clique of friends. So why not just go ahead and split them up? If you're going to just, that's the one thing that I found kind of messed up about the recent shows with AEW is that right there, that story. Where was everybody else when Jericho and Hager were getting the shit beat out of them?
Yeah.
Which maybe that might be addressed. That could be something they address later on. Jericho go back there and start going off because nobody came out to help them. But if they don't, then that's kind of a dropped ball there.
And I feel it's weird. You can go, Chi-Chi.
I wanted to ask you guys something totally off though.
Okay.
So I think you can go, Nick.
All right, I just want to say, I feel they're like an OG tag team for AEW. Like they were my first tag team I fell in love with in AEW, and it's just like I don't know where they're at now. I don't know. Like if they would have split, then it would have been like that kind of Shield feeling where it's like, oh, maybe I'll get back together one day. But I don't know. I don't even know what to expect from y'all anymore. I don't even know. I didn't even know Sammy Guevara was still on AEW until I thought he was taking a break or something, going to have his wedding or something. I was like, man, he's gone right now and nothing. But
and that's something else I worry about. Are a lot of them get young guys that they've been building up and that we've actually got behind? Are they going to get lost in the shuffle now? They're bringing in these other, bigger named stars. Because I definitely don't want that to happen. Jungle Boy, Sammy, Darby, Orange Cassidy, those guys were super over before the other guys got there. They need to still be pushed.
Yeah.
But I feel like AEW is going to manage to balance that, in terms of being able to keep honing their homegrown talent, so to speak, but also pushing the incoming talent and all of that. More especially because I feel like they actually pay attention to the IWC, and people point out these things, especially if, for example, maybe we find that maybe the people who've been there since day one are no longer getting as much shine, then it's going to be like, okay, guys, please, and I feel like they listen more. So I think they'll balance it out properly. Hopefully.
Like Hangman, when he comes back, he's somehow not even in the main event scene anymore. What are they going to do? That's because if they put Omega and Danielson at the next pay-per-view, then and Hangman's supposed to be back around that time, maybe a little before, then where's that story go? You just going to leave that hanging in the, that's what a lot of the people are actually upset about as far as the new guys coming in is Hangman's position. You've built him up. We're all behind him. We want this story to culminate, him beat Omega, get the title, and all that. And now it looks like that may not happen at least for a while yet.
Oh,
guys, man. I wanted to ask you something, right? It's a bit Weird. But anyway, with Zelina Vega, do you guys feel like she might regret re-signing with WWE?
I'm sure she's not happy with what's been going on. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they finally gave her her first win last night over Liv.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least I guess they gave her a win, but I don't see how she would be happy about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was that New York one where she
Yeah,
wasn't
that
coming.
would have
Yeah,
definitely. I think I would have asked for my release. To be honest with
yeah,
you, if I was her,
and you
because she
could
had the
tell.
gear made up with her
Yeah,
dad's tribute and everything, and here
yeah,
she is. Her dad died in 9/11, and you're putting
Yeah.
on a 9/11 tribute show, and you're not featuring her at all. She was not on the show at all, and that's.
And she was
I think I would have
ready.
asked for my release.
yeah. I mean, because I saw her, she tweeted out Carmella, Liv Morgan, all of them were like, what the hell? And I get it, Edge and Rollins went over this and that, but you can make time. You can make time. Like,
Yeah,
hey, we have to make time for these ladies to go out there and do their thing. Like,
Yeah.
they're in gear already. This is her day, like this and that. And so I feel, I mean, I could, out of all those three, I would see Liv. I see Liv and honestly Zelina leaving very soon. Like, when those contracts are up, they're gone. Like, especially Liv being with Ruby over there in AEW. And, I don't know. I think the WWE, like, I mean, the WWE fan base is around Liv, and you're still just like, like
yeah.
you're giving me Eva Marie and still, and
You say you listen to your fans, but yeah, they told you quite vocally on live television that that's who they're behind, and you're still not giving her her due.
we
So
got we got a superhero though, at least,
yeah.
Um.
But yeah, if I was Zelina, I would have asked for my release. I would have been that would have pissed me off so bad. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like it
Especially.
was a regular show. It was a
Yeah.
9/11 tribute show, and here's a girl whose dad died, 9/11 hero, and you're
Mm.
not giving her her time. That's unforgivable if I was her.
And also, I feel like the AEW. Okay, I know we always say like, okay, AEW shouldn't be the only place that we consider for these released WWE wrestlers, right? But like, I feel like AEW could do with Zelina Vega. Like, look at that Andrade spot, the managerial spot. Look at different places, man. Like even the women's division, there, I feel like it could benefit from her. And her like the way that she is. So
Yeah, she
yeah,
fits in good with the video game geeks and
yes.
you know
oh
what I
yeah,
mean, the comic book guys that all them guys are. Yeah, she fits right in there, and her husband's there, of course, too. So, which she could have fit in beside him against Cody and Brandy, even.
that would
Hmm.
have been dope.
Yeah,
I thought of that on Wednesday when Brandy rolled into the ring and she was like face to face with Alistair. I was like, would have been cool
that
if
might have been the coolest thing Brandy's ever been involved in. You know what I mean? Because that would be the wife's reaction to the dude that took out her husband, flip him off, and say "fuck you" right there on TV. You know what I mean? And she
Mhm,
clearly said it, camera on
mhm.
her. She, flip "fuck you." That might have been the best thing she's ever been involved with, which is kind of funny to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, oh gosh, the possibilities. I think as much as I like AEW, their women's division still needs more. And I
Depth.
mean, they're
Yeah.
growing. They're growing them very slowly, organically. I'm liking it. Penelope Ford. They've been using her very slowly now, and this and that. They're really transitioning ones they bring in with the ones that they have. So it's looking nice. But I think if any women wrestlers decide to leave like WWE, I think that's who they should definitely look to snatch up. Some like bigger names, like especially fan favorites, like Liv Morgan going over there. Oh man, the fans are gonna go
Should get
crazy.
major pop.
Yeah, and I said because that will even bring I feel more fans over to your side because you have fan. I mean, you have those characters like Big E is one of them. We got it now, but I feel like you gave me that just because you had to. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Exactly. Which a lot of people feel like that's what they did with the Big E win. They
Yeah,
they did that because they had to. They had to come up with a response to the AEW stuff, and they knew we all wanted Big E to have that belt. So they felt like we'll give him this and maybe shut him up for a while and all that. And it's kind of not because AEW is still rolling. It's like they're not stopping. They're just keeping the train going, at full speed, you know. And which so Liv, I just recently found out, is actually engaged to Bo Dallas. Bray Wyatt's
What?
brother.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
What?
they live on a farm together. They're taking real estate classes and licenses together. They're like planning for a life together outside of wrestling, which is great and cool and
Yeah, that
awesome.
is good.
But I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. So I mean, and he's even hinting at he's going to show up somewhere. So I mean, again, I'm a realist. I know the history of guys in the business. I know family lineage and them guys being both Wyndhams and Rotundas, and of course their grandfather being Blackjack Mulligan. You know, you're insulting our intelligence, number one, by not even alluding to that on television. They've never mentioned on TV, oh, these are Mike Rotunda's sons, or these are Barry Windham's nephews, or any of that stuff. They've never said any of that stuff on actual television. And so I'm ready for them to come out together, him and Bray, and be the dominant brothers or something, or him be Bray's right-hand man in the Dark Order or something like that. I kind of expected it to happen on the Firefly Funhouse in WWE, like him come out and be one of them puppet characters, but real or something like that. But they even have a sister that's a trained wrestler as well. So, I mean, they could do like a whole family dynamic stable, whatever. But Bo Dallas is too talented to be sitting at home.
WWE dropped the ball big time with the Firefly Funhouse. Big time. They had so much potential in that one storyline. Oh,
I miss the Funhouse so
Yeah.
much. I looked forward to. I remember like they would be like Firefly Funhouse coming on next, and I'd be like, oh shit, I don't
you're
even
like,
like commercials. I would watch commercials just to make
Just
sure.
to wait for the. Hell, I know that's what's crazy. And man, I mean, AEW's almost backed into a corner, even though they didn't do it themselves. But they hear, and like you said, they pay attention to the internet wrestling community. They know that everybody's been getting told that Bray Wyatt's going to be premiering at that Rochester show because it's, uh, uh,
Brody Lee.
Bertie Lee's hometown, and all that stuff, and it's going to be kind of geared as a tribute show almost to him and all that. So if he doesn't come out, there's going to be that segment of fans are going to be talking smack, saying you guys build up that he was, but they didn't. They haven't said he's going to be there, but they've kind of allowed that story to kind of be out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they didn't
he
do
hasn't
anything
come
to
out and
dismiss
denied
it.
it.
Yeah,
And Bray was photographed in the stands at the AEW show. So I mean,
and they had everybody was pretty much wearing Brody Lee shirts yesterday, and I was like, I caught it. I was like, look, I was like, that a Brody Lee shirt? I was like, oh, okay. I mean,
I'm looking forward to Wednesday big time. I'm probably looking forward to Wednesday more than I am tomorrow.
oh yeah. No. Tomorrow, man, whew,
wait,
I'm gonna need
before I move
rest.
on to tomorrow, guys, how do you guys feel about Naomi? The possibility of her turning heel, the possibility of her
Yeah,
joining the
I expect her to
bloodline.
join the bloodline.
Do it.
I think that's where it's going.
Do it.
I wanted her to slap Sonya Deville last night. Like when she was walking past her, I was so ready for her to just,
Yeah,
but she
I like
didn't.
when Naomi finally showed a little bit of anger when she was like, "Look, bitch, I've been here longer than you. I've accomplished way more than you. Everybody knows me, and they don't know you. What the hell is your problem? Oh, is that your problem with me? Oh, okay, Yeah.
I love it.
I think she'll do a very good heel because,
Especially if she aligns herself with the bloodline, because they can help. Because she's never been a heel.
yeah,
So they can help kind of show her how to navigate that side of it a little bit. And Paul Heyman will be a humongous help, which Roman even says that. He's like, Paul Heyman's the guy. It's me and him coming up with our shit. So yeah.
Man, I
Love
love
Paul
right
Heyman.
now that bloodline. The shirts alone, I love it.
Yeah, I like the shirt too.
When I saw that shirt, I was like, I'm buying it. Dude.
And then the Usos brother training, and he's just signed for the Performance Center, so I'm sure they'll be adding him to the bloodline too. I do expect it to grow bigger, and that's something that they gave me that I've wanted. I've wanted for years this big Samoan stable, and now it looks like we're finally getting it.
And Sifa already has the look. Like he already has the look and everything. Like he's good to go.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Imagine all the gold they're gonna hold in that stable right there.
Off
I
topic, I just realized that you guys are wearing like orange, red tops.
Red.
You guys didn't
Red.
tell me. Oh, you guys didn't
Tubbies.
tell me.
I ain't gonna lie. I told you I forgot we were doing this. I was gonna go take a nap. I was like, I don't know. I was just off of it today. I'm glad y'all wrote, because if not, I would have been asleep just straight. All I have to watch right now is baseball, and I mean, yeah, that's. I'm
Guys,
not.
the draft is next week, right? Next week Friday. Starts next week Friday, right?
Next, yeah, on SmackDown next Friday.
Who are some people that you guys want to see get drafted from
I
when to
expect
when?
Drew McIntyre to be drafted to SmackDown, and he'll end up being the challenger after Brock's done and goes away for a little while. It'll be Drew that steps in against Roman.
Do you think he's going to win the title from Roman? Do you think he's going to be the one to dethrone?
Man,
Roman?
I'm hoping, and what I would think they could do is go ahead and let Demon Finn beat Roman. The match between Brock and Roman doesn't need the belt at Crown Jewel. You can have Finn have a match against somebody else, and with the belt on the line, and have Brock and Roman still be the main match of that show, and then come back later on down the road and have Roman get the belt back from regular Finn, not Demon. I think I would be upset if they let the Demon lose, because that destroys all credibility and all mystique for that character right there.
Yeah, I kind of feel. I mean, I saw somewhere they said they. I hate when they ask you a question like, "Do you think this is gonna happen?" Now I know it's gonna happen already, and like they asked, "Do you think Brock Lesnar comes out?" I'm like, oh, okay, now I know he's coming somewhere. I think it was like, "Do you think Brock Lesnar shows up to Extreme Rules?" was the question, and so now
WWE asked that.
Yeah.
So now I feel like he's gonna do something. I mean, maybe he shows up and causes a scene, and Demon,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and this and that. I mean, I don't think the fans will be mad because they hate Roman so much right now. And
Finn's so popular.
Yeah.
Finn, I mean,
Like-
nobody can hate on that dude, man.
yeah, and so like if then you, like you said, you lose the belt and all this and that because then you can put on another match with Finn, open up some more storylines, do a 3-way match or something. And I mean, you at least give credit to the Demon part of it, because if they just throw that, I feel it's like that time when they had the Demon versus the Fiend type thing, and
They didn't do enough of that, man.
yeah, that was just trash. And then I mean, I don't even talk about the Fiend because I'm getting aggravated now that they just wasted this beautiful. I was so looking forward to having a Fiend mask for Halloween, and he's not even there anymore. WWE dropped the ball. Now you're trying to sell me a doll, and a Charlotte doll at that. Oh man, my bad, Chichi. I hit the space bar. Hey.
I was like, it's because I don't have the shit.
I hit the space bar and I was like, I don't know what just happened. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. WWE
You can
aggravated.
buy the doll though. The doll is cute. Then you just put it here on shoulder.
Gosh, I mean, I did like Charlotte and Alexa Bliss going off on each other on stolen gimmick. That was kind of funny.
So like,
She
talk
was-
about originality. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that saved it a little bit.
Oh man, yeah, we have a exciting day tomorrow of non-extreme matches.
Wait, before we get to the predictions, I know I was gonna save this for like the predictions show tomorrow and whatever.
We're doing that
I
tomorrow.
wanted to ask, right? Huh?
We're doing the predictions tomorrow.
I think so.
Yeah,
Before
yeah,
like the show. So like I wanted to ask, right? Do you guys feel as though the storyline between like Roman and the Demon, do you feel like it's been built enough to actually like, okay, I know we all assume that the Demon is gonna win, right? Because the Demon. But do you guys feel like the story has been built strong enough to actually have the Demon actually win? That makes sense.
I don't know. I think it has, because it goes back to the contract signing that Cena stole. So it kind of goes back that far. So in order for Finn to get his match that he was supposed to have, he had to bring the Demon out. So that kind of justifies it, and it kind of brings it from there. But yeah, they could have definitely done more with it. Like he could have shown up on Raw and done something, to Roman on Raw and stuff like that. So yeah, they could have done definitely a little bit more. But the more you show the Demon on TV, again, you kind of take away from it a little bit. You know what I mean?
True.
So. I could see that too.
Yeah, I feel like what hurts it is the crown jewel. You're trying to sell 2 pay-per-views at the same time with same characters. It's just like one of this is going to take a hit, and it seems like non-Extreme Rules pay-per-view has taken the hit. It's going to be soft like Goldberg, and I don't know. I had to take my shot at Goldberg this show.
Caleb was mentioning Goldberg there.
I didn't even
had to.
put it up there. I couldn't. I was like, no. I'm gonna have to hear him all day tomorrow. And Goldberg's not even fighting. I'm like, that's the only positive I think of the pay-per-view tomorrow is Goldberg's not on it.
Wait, Biggie still doesn't have a match, does he? He doesn't.
I don't think he does.
Oh, okay.
It's a weird card.
Crazy. Yeah, it's a weird pay-per-view. Like if one match should have had a stipulation, it should have been like the Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, Damian Priest match.
Yes.
Should have been like a TLC match or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's no tables, no chairs, no ladders, not even a kendo stick. Gosh,
just one kendo stick.
I'm like, use something like a lumberjack match. Like, gosh, like something like we ain't getting nothing. It's just literally like change the name to like I don't know.
Sometimes it's like they should just be like, this is Clash of Champions. Honestly, Night of Champions.
Yeah,
Night of Champions.
I mean, you got they're like, oh, all titles are on the line. Wrong pay-per-view, Michael Cole. What the hell, bro? And like, I want to see chairs and tables and ladders. Like, bring out a ugly hardcore belt to fight for the day and stuff. Like, I already know I'm gonna get the 24/7/11 365 championship and doing flips and everything. Like, I'm gonna get Tozawa and R-Truth talking for like 30 minutes. I'm like,
at least Reggie's a little entertaining.
Guys, do they do those live? Like those scenes where like Reggie's jumping on all of those things. Do they do that live?
I don't know.
Is it pre-recorded?
I don't think so. I think they're pre-taped just in case there is like him like doing a flip, falling flat on his face. Could you imagine that being live?
I was thinking that.
Jump off and also smack, and his face is just all bloody. And
oh man!
Like yesterday when the table broke, the announcement table on SmackDown, awkward.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I was like, cameraman, move.
You're right. You're like, stop.
I mean, I don't think anything's as bad as that Matt Hardy missing the whole table when they.
Oh man, that was brutal.
I was sitting there watching that, and I'm like, nah, that's not fake. Like that's not fake. And you see him try to get up. I was like, oh no, this dude knocked out. Like
that was one of the few times AEW dropped. But that match should not have went on. They should not have let him finish that match. Yeah, kudos to him for wanting to finish and put Sammy, put him over and stuff. But yeah, they shouldn't have let that go on.
Yeah, I was like, oh man. I mean, watches are gonna happen. I want to see Reggie versus John Morrison in a parkour match.
Yes. Book it. Book it.
Just want to see
them. I
want
to see John Morrison booked good. I mean,
oh my god,
he was one of the ones Mick Foley brought up. He's been a champion everywhere. He was a champion here before he left, but he's been a world champion everywhere else. And now you've got him relegated to this sidekick comedy guy.
And now the Miz isn't even there, so it's like awkward. It's like
yeah. Now he's just gonna. I mean, I was gonna say now they get they'll sit down and eat, but they took that away. So I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's gonna do.
I mean, how is that company losing that much money that they can't even have the catering anymore? It's crazy.
How are you want to be a legit company? Like every other sport feeds their athletes, and you're just like, nah, bro, you better stop at Subway before you get here.
Yeah. They told him to eat the stadium food, and I'm like, really? Are you serious? Now they got to line up for hot dogs like everybody else.
It's like you're sitting there like, hey, Roman, you want something? I got you, bro. Don't worry. It's like, oh my gosh, this is.
And then if, like, let's say something happened like at WrestleMania where the whole pay system went down so nobody could get any food or drink for the longest. I mean, holy crap, man. I
would have been done. I would have just left. I would have been like, I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore.
I would have been like, okay, I'm done with this shit show.
Yeah. I couldn't have stayed in WWE this long. Like,
yeah, nah.
I would have took my life to Japan and just been a star over there, and it just been like, nah, I'm good, bro. They got
The
anime.
only other place they talk about that's the shitty is Puerto Rico, like the Carlos Clone Company and stuff. That people don't like going there, but the fans there, to them, it's real. You know,
Yeah.
like who was it? Damian Sandow. He wrestled down there, and for a long time, and he said, you know, Carlos and them treated him good, but like he couldn't go to restaurants, like the waiters wouldn't serve him food. You know, people would be throwing their food at him and drinks and stuff while he was in the restaurant.
Damn.
Because to them, it's still real. Like wrestlers told stories where they feared for their life. You know, Ric Flair even dropped the world title to one of the guys he wrestled until he could get out of the city. Like let them believe that he was the new champion, his opponent, just so he could get out of town because they were going to kill him. I mean, they were literally going to kill him. It was crazy. All the stories you hear about that place.
I would have gone and worked at McDonald's. I'm like, I couldn't do that. I would have been the first one. Like breaking news. Oh man, we got a busy day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Y'all rest up. Woo! Y'all be ready for some extreme fights and wrestling matches and
hella extreme, hard hitting. You know, the brutal of the brutal. Okay?
It'll be opposite day.
Oh gosh, it's gonna be a long night tomorrow for us. But oh man, thank you everybody for watching. We'll be doing this every Saturday. Go make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, everything, TikTok.
Yeah.
Later, fam.
Variety Sports Network. Built